everyone, and welcome to Taking Care of Business. This is Victoria Jennings, and we are proudly sponsored by Entrepreneurs Building Success. I'm glad you could come along today. What I wanted to talk about, particularly today, is how important it is to align our entrepreneurial genius with our business. And what does that look like and what does that mean? And before I get into that, I'd like to share a little bit about my journey and why I'm so passionate about doing this, about aligning our entrepreneurial genius into our businesses, not just for the business owner, but also for the team as well. So I've got to go back a fair way in history. When I first started working with different profiling tools, it was very difficult to find a tool that would actually relate to business. There are a lot of them out there, and still are a lot of them out there, that look at the personality of a person. And some of them are nice and simplistic, and some of them are so intricate that you need a consultant to work with you in order to work out how to implement it in the business, and it never becomes something that you can do organically. I'm a big believer in organic. I'm a big believer in learning something and then being able to apply it. And that's how I design all of my programs and how I've designed all of my qualifications in my college. It's always about learning and then applying that knowledge into real life, workplaces, real life environments. Okay, so whereas university is very much about applying the theory of everything. And yes, what we learn at university is valuable. And yes, what we learn at university is how we're supposed to look if everything in the organizations we worked in was perfect. But organizations are imperfect. Organizations are all about humans, and humans are imperfect, right? So to try to make a lot of the academic theories work, and I used to lecture at university, so I have a little knowledge about it from the other side of the fence as well. Academia is all about best practice. We used to call it best practice, golden standard, like whatever is the buzz terminology today, apply that to that statement. And it's about having all your ducks in a row already. And that doesn't happen. And that's why a lot of people who graduate from university, number one, are not job ready. They're not. They are thrown into environments where things are far from perfect and they haven't got a clue of how to deal with it because they weren't taught that at university. Okay, that's just why I love vocational education, because it is about the work environment. Education is about how it is at work, and we recognize that not every organization is perfect. All right, and you're going to be dealing with things that are not out of a textbook. It would be nice to implement the textbook, but we can't always do that. So when I was building my team, with a blindfold on, really. And I'm talking about my college, IPS Institute, okay, way back in the beginning when I was starting to put a team together. So I had to learn pretty quickly because we went through a big growth burst when we went into the civil construction field or industry. And we were invited into that industry because of our reputation with frontline management programs. And so all of a sudden, we were given 400 students in a new program we'd never run before. So I needed a team, and I needed that team really quickly. I needed trainers, I needed assessors, I needed curriculum writers in the industry, in that field, because I come from business management and leadership background. Okay, so So yeah, it was very, very interesting. And I did it blindfolded. And when I say blindfolded, I didn't understand the um, the organic way we show up at work. The Our way of being actually falls and spills over into the workplace. Okay. So, and you can see it in our kids, you can see it in everything once you understand the profiles. Okay. Any profile system, you can see it in others because they're all based on similar things. Okay. They're all based on four things. They're all coming from Carl Jung, who invented them, basically. So there is commonality over them, but none of them were related to actually the workplace. None that I found, anyway. Okay. So here we are, all showing up to work, and we're recruiting people and getting them to do things based on a position description and based on their resumes, right? That's how we make a decision. We look at their resumes, we see their experience, what they've done before. Then we do some referee checks. And of course, they would never give us the name of a person who didn't have a good experience with them, would they? So I don't place much emphasis on referee checks personally. So that's how we base our very important decision on a new recruit. And the job description is always designed around four areas. It always has a strategy component. It always has a communication component. It always has an implementation component. And it always has a systems component. Every job description is written the same way. And none of us are built that way. Not one of us. We are all built to be great at one of those things. If we're really good at seeing the big picture, we can be really challenged at seeing the everyday tasks that need to be done. If we're really great with communicating with people, we can struggle with systems to back that up. If you think about a salesperson, salespeople are great at building relationships, okay? But they're terrible at writing up reports and writing and filling in CRM often, which is a system, okay? And what are we always waiting from our salespeople? We're always waiting for the sales report. They're always doing it and procrastinating, overdoing it. This is just an example, okay? So they don't do that part of their job well. So I started to question, and I could see this in my organization, and I started to question why we make these people jump through all these hoops where they obviously need help and really don't know how to do it for themselves properly. It was common. And when I really started to look at this, I started to realize that I had all of my team, except for me, the rest of my team were in the wrong positions for who they were and how they were showing up in the workplace. So anyway, I started to work with profiling tools, and then I started to really realize, and it was in my face, that these people will never excel in these roles because the roles were not designed for them. So we're in a situation where we have a job, we describe what that job involves, but we took no account into how humans are actually built for jobs. And so we would fit people into the job description rather than having the people, or rather having the job description fit the people, okay? So I discovered that we needed to turn this upside down on its head because everything I'd learned about human resource management was basically wrong. The foundations, the core foundations of it was basically wrong, okay? So that was a conundrum. And when I started to profile my team, we started to rearrange how we did work. And how we rearranged that was to put everybody in project-based teams. And when you put people into project-based teams, they can focus on what they do best. And you can have other team members around them on that project, filling in the gaps of each person. When you understand their strengths and their talents, you can do that. When you really understand. So therefore you have the whole team working on multiple projects, but only in their genius zone areas. Okay? Is that cool or what? Do you know what happens when you do that? Productivity increases. It goes through the roof because no one is procrastinating, because we only procrastinate where we're out of alignment with ourselves. All right? So if we're not good at doing something, it'll keep going down to the bottom of the priority list, even if it's a high priority. We'll keep pushing it down there. And so procrastination disappears. We create a culture that is truly about self-managed teams, because when everyone understands all of the profiles, everyone knows who's best at doing what on the team. So there's no debate about who should be doing which tasks. The proof is in the profiles. You refer to the profiles, you know the profile of each team member because there's only 8 of them. So it's very easy to remember what profile they are. And you know who should be doing the different tasks within each of these projects. It's simple. It's really simple. And there's no argument. And then we have self-managed teams, truly self-managed teams. There's no need, once they understand this, there's no need for anyone to oversee how they're going to run the project. So we can also develop project plans differently to how human resource management taught us to do. It just makes everything flow. So what happens to the culture? Everyone loves coming to work, number one. Everybody is doing what they love and loving what they do all day, every day. They've got variety as well because they're working on different projects. Okay, they're all working on the same projects, but they're all doing different things on each of those projects, but only in their genius zone areas, wherever possible. It's not always possible, but even if we've got to do something and we know it's not our genius zone area, we give ourselves permission to take more time with it because we know it's not our genius zone area. We know it's going to take some more time to do, and that takes away a lot of anxiety for people as well. Now, when I was working in the Silicon Valley, which I did for a little while, consulting just now and then, right? It was really interesting that when I went and visited Google and, I did all those things in Silicon Valley that you do, I noticed that a lot of the teams were put in the wrong places, and the anxiety levels, you could feel it when you walked into their office. You could feel the tension, and you might be able to feel the tension in other places when you walk in. It's palpable. It feels like it's really heavy energy. And I'll guarantee you that's because a lot of people are not in alignment with their job role. And it causes ill health. And if you do it long enough, it becomes cancer and it becomes heart attacks. That's what can happen when we're stressed out, doing things that we're not great at doing. The other thing that happened to me when I was working in government was I was sent, because I had to go through this myself to be able to recognise it, right? And I used to be sent on professional development programs, and they paid a lot of money for me to go. I was in high positions in government, in education. And they paid a lot of money for me to go to these different conferences and programs and things that I had to get my head around in order to manage my teams in the government departments. And they would be wasting so much money sending me to things that was never my genius zone area, okay, and things that I would never be good at doing. So I would change my behaviour for about 12 weeks when I came back from the training, And it's about 12 weeks that people can maintain this, right, on average. I've noticed it in lots of other companies as well. And so there's a change in behavior for that period of time. But then we gradually go back to our organic way of being, the way we naturally are. And we're back to our old habits. We're back to doing it the way we used to do it because it's not innate with us. It doesn't relate to us. We can't hold it in our hand because it's not important to us either. Um, it's not part of our passion. When people are in alignment, true alignment in their job role, they're passionate because, and I find that our passion and our profile is completely in alignment with each other. So if you're working with your genius zones and that are identified through the profiling tool, then it's a no-brainer. You're going to be passionate all day, every day about what you're doing because your passion is in complete alignment with the jobs that you're now having to do, rather than trying to force you to be something that you're not. And some people have been forced to do something that they're not. And I've worked with people in my retreats. One person in particular, I remember vividly. On day 5 of the retreat, it was a 5-day retreat I used to run my program. And on day 5, we all share about the aha moments and what we're going to change as a result of what we've learned, blah, 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 blah. And she stood up and she was in tears, like sobbing. And she said, I've realized over the course of this week that I honestly thought I was something that I'm not. And this week has shown me I've been able to free myself completely. And I'm going to change my whole career direction as a result of that because I've realized for 20 years, I've been kidding myself that I'm X when I'm actually Y. What a wonderful aha moment for that person to have and to break free of the chains of who she thought she was. So this is the magic that this can bring. And as a business owner, okay, it's really, really important because you have to understand your gifts. Now, we all understand our gifts in general terms, right? But this profiling tool that I'm talking about, it actually measures the different geniuses in our makeup down to percentages. So you can see I've got X percentage of strategic, I've got X percentage of communication, I've got X percentage of implementation, I've got X percentage of systems in me. So what does that mean? Well, that means I should be focusing on my highest percentage areas. That's where I should be focused because that's where my passion lies. And that's where my personal why lies, why I've created this business, why I'm doing this business. And I owe it to myself to do that because that's also where my biggest bang for my buck lies, in that genius zone. That's how I can create money easily, effortlessly, organically for me. It's so important to have it right. Now, a lot of people who've built their businesses, they are naturally in alignment with their business. But I've also seen a lot of people who've bought their business or in the big corporate organizations. I worked with Nebraska University at one point. They have 60,000 staff. And I saw in that organization, it's so big, it's like a bureaucracy itself, right? And it's so big that they've lost sight of the humanism of doing work, if that makes sense. So there's lots of people working out of alignment, and the CEOs are not in alignment either. The heads of departments, it's a hot mess, right? So if you've been able to design your business yourself, you probably won't feel this as much, although people still get big aha moments when they realize what these percentages are inside of them. Okay. And it just makes it so much easier, because then you can build the team that you need to have around you, because we need to have people who are opposite to us. We need to have people who complement what we do. We need to have people, like I've got blind spots because I've got 80% strategic in me, which means the three other areas I have got blindfolds on around those three other areas in my business, right? Because I simply can't see it from that perspective. I see it from my strategic perspective, and I see it very clearly, very well, and I can see it for others very well and very clearly, right? But those other areas, I need people around me who are experts, who can take on that role for me. Now, does that mean I don't have to learn about what that is? No, I absolutely have to learn about it. I have to learn about the other areas so I can ask the right questions of the people who are working with me, so I can make sure that they are the best people to be working with, right? So I'm not abdicating responsibility, I'm not doing that at all. But I'm saying I'm not the best person to be running or leading in those areas. I'm probably the worst person to be running or leading those areas, right? And so when you know that, you know who you need to attract to come into your business. And when you understand all of this, when you really implement the profiling system, you do attract people into your organization, because they know that other organizations do not work like this organization does. And people who do work with you will stay a very, very long time. And the biggest expense in business, the largest expense, is staff turnover. It costs a fortune. And every time someone leaves, they take away corporate knowledge with them. Every time. So you keep leaking money because of that. Whereas if you're doing it this way, you're just replacing the profile to come into your business. And it like many people are that profile. And as long as you know the profile, then you can write ads that will attract those people in, and only those people in, to your organization. So this is the beauty of it. Okay, this is the real beauty of it. And this is what I'm teaching coaches in the near future, how to do this and how to work with corporates, how to work with teams, how to run workshops based on all of this and implementing all of this. So very exciting times coming up for entrepreneurs building success. And the name implies exactly what this is about. Entrepreneurs building success, right? It's built. It's done by design. It's done with a roadmap behind, well, actually several roadmaps behind it. It's done with a profiling system behind it. It's not done by happenstance. It's not done by, oh gee, I'm in business, or the first thing I need to do is start selling, without any thought of what the business should look like, how you should get to the next level, how you should scale it, what does that look like, how we actually create wealth as the profile that we are, because there's 8 different ways to creating wealth. Okay, all of these things are not covered in any university course that I'm aware of, and not covered in any other courses that I'm aware of. So when I say the profiling tool is a game changer, it truly is a game changer. And profits go through the roof because you stop wasting and bleeding money. And a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs that I know don't even know where they're bleeding money, because they don't have a system to be able to see it. Okay, and if they've got blind spots in those areas, they'll never see it without some assistance. to see it. Okay, I hope this has been interesting today. I thought I'd just, take you behind the scenes and give you the big picture of why I get involved with this. Okay, so and why did I start my college? I started my trade and business college because I wanted to give people their first jobs. I wanted to give people a salary. I wanted to give people a career. And I'm very proud that I've done that. We've got over 15,000 graduates in our 20 years of operation. I'm very proud of that. And what's my why behind doing this with entrepreneurs and coaches? My big why is it doesn't have to be hard. Business is not hard. Business is easy. Business rewards you when you understand how we can organically grow our business and have everyone operating in their genius zones and build a culture that's actually beautiful, build a culture that's healthy in our business, and scale our business. Scale our businesses so one day we have the choice. It's all about choices. Entrepreneurship to me is about having choices, and all of our choices will be different, and that's beautiful, and that's fine because we are all different. Okay, but it's about having the choices. We can choose to be in our business. We can choose to be the figure of our business. We can choose to stay in it if we want to. But wouldn't it be lovely to have the option to be able to step out of it as well, as I've done with my other business, my college? I don't have to be in it anymore because I've moved on from my why has changed. And I'm so proud we're still doing that. We're still giving people their first job and their first careers, right? I'm so proud of that. And I'm still proud of it. But I want to do something different now, right? And I've given myself the freedom to be able to do something different if that's what I want to do. I work with senior executive teams and help their organizations implement this. So because it is such an eye-opener, it is such a different way of doing business. So when I talk about business strategy, I'm not talking about business strategy from Human Resource Management 101. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a really uniquely different business strategy to put in place, different business models to look at, okay? 8 different ways of doing business, 8 different stages of business that we go through, and all of this simplifies business. And yes, you've got to learn it in the beginning, and it takes a little while to learn it all. But when you do, man, it just opens up a whole different world of business to you. And it's exciting and it's fun. And yeah, it's a whole new way of looking at business, a whole new perspective. Anyway, I really encourage you to do your profile and to get this started, get it sorted. And I can do a debrief on that too. I offer that as well. I'll do a debrief with you one-on-one with your profile to give you some of the insights and relate it exactly to your business and where your business is at right now, what stage of business your business is in. Okay, so it improves every business that I've ever brought this to, without a doubt. And when I implemented in my own business, we doubled our revenue in 6 months just by implementing project-based teams. Okay, it's really, really powerful. Okay, so you're in the right spot. You're in the right place. If this excites you, I'm really glad it excites you. It means you're here for a reason. Okay, everyone. I really thank you for being here today. Don't forget to be here next Tuesday when I'm going to go through the 4 different ways to sell to people so that you're actually triggering their buying decision through their profile and what makes them tick. Okay, next Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You'll see it all over here, so don't worry, you won't miss out. Okay, thank you very much for being here and have a great week.